10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And ladies and gentlemen, for the 180th time, it is the Power Hour Live. I'm Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer, and next to me, co-hosting right here on the CompetitionPlus.com platform, Mr. Dugenay Bland. Dugenay, good to see you. Good to see everyone out there tonight. Hit the like button, hit the share button, dive into the comments section. We're going to have, well, the youngest lady pro stock competitor in NHRA Mission Foods drag racing, and then an individual that is no stranger to nitro. It's even in his nickname. Yeah. Well, expect him in a different configuration here soon in the world of drag racing. But Dugenay, we definitely need to take the time and give our respects to certainly a dedicated man, a talented man in the world of drag racing, a veteran of our armed forces, and also a man that I admire, that he loved his wife. And that is something of note, I believe, as well. That is Roger Richards. He passed away, I believe, earlier today or over the night. And he was good, close friends with Bobby for 25 years, the director of photography at CompetitionPlus.com. If you saw photos, oftentimes at CompetitionPlus.com, they were done by Roger Richards, and he impacted so many people in the media world. You could always get a joke from him, and was rather a positive individual to interact with and to lift your spirits, and dedicated as well. At this time, Bobby's got a little video for us to play, and we're going to do that. Rest in peace, Geezer Man.
My name is Roger Richards. Been doing photography since Thomas Edison and I invented the camera, but I've only been doing drag racing since around the turn of the century. We started Competition Plus in the fall of 1999. Bobby came to my studio to have his son, who was doing junior dragster, had his son come over and have a picture made in his fire suit, and I had no idea what a fire suit was. He came in and I finally took the pictures, and he invited me to come over to the Greer Dragway, and that was the first official trip to a drag strip in my entire life, and he invited me to come to the IHRA Fall Nationals in 1999. That was the first big drag strip, big drag race I've been to. And I was standing beside Paul Romine on the start line the first time that I watched a Top Fuel launch. In Rockingham, you can stand pretty darn close behind the wall. And he took off. My hat went somewhere. It wasn't from exhaust or wind or anything, it was just sound percussion. Knocked my hat right off my head. I have no idea yet. I've still not found that picture. You get the big cars taking off, and it starts in your heart, all the vibration, and works its way out. That's what I tell people. They say, well, how does it feel to stand beside a Top Fueler? That's what I tell them. The vibrations start in my heart and they come out. Started out as a professional photography, doing weddings and portraits. I've done over 3,000 weddings around the turn of the century when we started this. I phased out of the wedding and portraits and got into this. I don't have to tell a car to smile or anything. I don't have to put up with well, see, 3,000 weddings, that's 6,000 mother-in-laws. I don't have to put up with that in the drag racing. Now, I've never seen a bride do a burnout down the aisle and burst into flames at the altar. And so, this is a lot more interesting than, and it's new every time we come. It's the same, but every race is different. Every venue is different. And I used to fly everywhere to go to the races, and then people asked me, what does Pomona look like? And I said, well, it's about a quarter-mile long, and it's got stands on each side. And what does Epping look like? Well, it's about a quarter-mile long, stands on each side. And everything looked the same, and so I started driving, and now 15 or 16 years down the road driving, I get to visit all the great places, all the national parks in between all these events. A lot of people think that I was here when the first car went down the track in 50-something, but drag racing, except for watching a little bit of Wild World of Sports on TV, drag racing didn't exist into my life until '99. I don't have all that history, so all this is new to me. And a lot of people talk about the good old days, and that this is the good old days for me. I retired in '92 from the corporate world and doing just photography. I haven't used an alarm clock since 1992, so not many people can say that. It's been a heck of a career, heck of a way to spend retirement.
Good job.
Well, that's why I don't, I stay on neutral side with you.
All right, one more thing. How many guys want to see Eddie Kravick win the race today?
I don't consider myself the best one out here. There are tons of people out here that can take better pictures and do better than I, but there's not anyone that has more fun than me. I brought my daughter to a national event for her first drag race, and she became addicted to drag racing. She doesn't get to come as much anymore because of her job, but she likes to come to races because of all the people out there. That's the cars and the speed and the numbers, that's all impressive, but it's the people that make it. Somebody asked me at one point in time, what's the best part of this? And I always told myself, I make more friends than I make pictures, so that's the great thing about this.
I make more friends than I make pictures. That was definitely Roger Richards. I want to miss you, man. And definitely a big piece missing from the CompetitionPlus.com team. Well, something that makes our team right here for the Competition Plus Power Hour possible is Weldon High Performance. From aviation pumps to high performance pumps for your motorsports application in drag racing and beyond, you need Weldon High Performance pumps to, well, keep you pumping, just like they keep the Power Hour pumping. All right, Sienna, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Good to have you on, and good to finally chat with you. I know at PRI, I was like, man, who's this chick making all these announcements and roaming around this place with cameras and everything? Now we certainly know who you are and what you're doing and what you're all about, and it's good to chat with you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
First of all, let's start with the basics. Because a lot of folks are like, who is this gal? How do you enunciate your last name?
Wildgust.
Wildgust. There we go.
Okay.
Wildgust. It's not a Zephyr. It's a Wildgust. If anybody know what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. Well, good. And Dujanay, we'll let you continue with the basics here and let everyone get introduced to Sienna.
Your racing career is very interesting. You started out in the junior dragster ranks, and you did a little bit of bracket racing, but you jumped straight into sportsman. Like, that's not easy.
No, it's definitely not easy. I had a junior for 8 years, I think, and then I drove that bracket car for I want to say I tested it for a day, and then 3 races I drove it, and then I said, "Hey, Dad, I want to get a pro stock car."
That's awesome.
Yeah, I want to go fast. Let's just get over this. Let's move beyond and let's go fast and let's do what is necessary to go as fast as I certainly want to go. Now, speaking of junior dragsters and Dad, your family, like, did you have a chance of not getting into drag racing, or was it just something that was almost a must for you within your family circle?
I mean, I've been going to the racetrack since I was 2 weeks old, so it was definitely in my family. We did it as a family. My sister used to drive junior too. So it was definitely a choice I could have picked to go or not, but I loved it and I loved doing it with my family, so I continued to do it.
And your home is Canada.
Yes.
I love Canada because when I went to Canada and I got to the airport and I handed them my ID, I didn't get asked, "How do you say your name?" They just said it. And I was ready to have my citizenship in Canada. Pro stock is something that some people think is pretty easy, but it's really not that easy. Why pro stock, and what are some of the things that you had to learn coming out of the gates in learning how to drive this car?
I would definitely say that pro stock caught my eye because as we would say, it's a real race car. You have to shift through all 5 gears and leave off a clutch pedal. But I knew I always wanted to drive professionally, whether that had been fuel or pro stock. But pro stock really grabbed my attention, and I like every aspect of it. It was definitely a learning curve. The burnout was probably the hardest part. But I had some great teachers, Dallas Glenn and Dave Connolly, who helped me through it. And yeah.
That's fascinating. The burnout keeps coming
Yeah.
up as the most challenging side of driving a pro stock car. And I have seen experienced pro stock drivers. I think of those in the mountain motor ranks. John Montecalvo, he steps into a 500 cubic incher there at Virginia Motorsports Park, and it took him a couple of attempts to get the burnout right. Classically, Jay Leno, the ultimate car guy, couldn't even get a burnout done in Mark Powick's pro stock many moons ago. What's so challenging about it? Can you take us that are not behind the wheel of a pro stocker or nowhere near it and give us in layman terms why it's so challenging?
Well, we start our burnout in 3rd gear, and then you have your clutch in, you're in 3rd, and then you have to give it gas and let off the clutch and then go through 4th and 5th. It's hard because you have to stay off the rev limiter, but then you also have to give it enough gas or it will stall. You also have to make sure you don't shift too fast or too slow or sit there too long. But I would definitely say learning to dump the clutch and go through the gears is probably the most challenging part.
All right, now that makes sense. I can think of
Yeah.
trying to start off in 3rd up a hill. Yeah, it's not working.
No. Now, is it true that basically the clutch pedal is always trying to push your foot back?
Yes, that is true. They do load it up. It's heavy.
See that now all these people that have you on the internet talking about how easy it is. She's 18, and I guarantee you we can go find 5 guys that can't hold that clutch pedal in.
Yeah. Hey, Dujane, let's just put it this way. There's 5 guys out there that say they can drive, but can't drive nowhere next to what she can do. How about
Exactly.
that?
Facts.
Right. Well, Sienna, in pro stock, and obviously you're on here. There was an announcement made. If I may put it, you're jumping ship. You went from one camp to the other camp, and in NHRA pro stock now, you're in one camp or you're in another camp. Very few true privateers out there in NHRA pro stock. How did it develop, one, to begin racing with KB Titan, and then now this transitioning under a different banner with Elite Motorsports?
So I got the opportunity to drive for KB Titan through one of our good family friends, Eric Latino. He is one of the owners of KB, and he also drives. We've been good friends for forever, and he one day asked me if I wanted to drive Pro Stock, and I at that time was getting out of my bracket car, and that was my goal. And very thankful for that opportunity, and everybody at KB that has helped me and put the times away from their families to be with me and to train me. Um, Ultimately, I mean, there's been a lot of hate comments and a lot of people wanting me to tell my side of the story. And there's not much to tell. You know, I had a great experience at KB. Everybody was amazing, and I loved my team over there. But when you're in this kind of drag racing, you know, it's a business, and you have to run it like a business, and it's just business at the end of the day. And there was a lot of potential at Elite with the opportunity and the resources that they have with all the drivers there, Erica being my mentor. So that was kind of my shifting point if I wanted to continue this season, was to go with Elite and have Erica as my mentor and to really further my career.
Well, Dujane, that's certainly not as juicy as I was hoping.
But you know what? I don't blame her for this. And see, this is the thing, right? So and it's nothing against those guys over there, but I think with this marriage here, it helps you a lot to have another lady that has been through the hard times and obviously been through good times to be able to mentor you and show you the ropes, give you guidance in business. And I think that experience just with having woman to woman is invaluable. And, you know, if I had the opportunity, if somebody said that I was going to be able to go play with Kobe or go play with Bradley Beal, I'm going to go play with Kobe. I'm sorry. So I really like this move for you. And I really feel like, you know, that bond there is really going to take you to the next level and give you a little bit an accelerated maturation process, I think.
I think so too.
Well, we understand now why Pro Stock and some of the challenges in Pro Stock. What are your goals in Pro Stock for this year and then 5 years and however long you want to be in these factory hot rods?
I would definitely say this year, Rookie of the Year for NHRA would be a huge accomplishment. But just trying to qualify in the top half of the fields and try and make it past first round would definitely be a huge accomplishment. But really just getting to know everybody and creating business-to-business relationships and really bonding with my team and learning from Erica. The next 5 years, I know I'm hoping to have a championship, but we'll see. I'm with the right team, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
It's amazing, Dujane, that getting past first round and qualifying the top half of the field is a huge accomplishment, but it really is in modern day Pro Stock. That is definitely some lofty goals. There are great teams out there that don't routinely make the top half of the field, but they certainly have a chance on race day.
Yeah, I agree. And congratulations. What is it? Class of 2024?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And you graduate and go right into Pro Stock racing. Man, that was a dream of mine, but it just never happened.
Well, Sienna, when can we, for everyone out there not diving into articles and things of that nature, when can we expect you back at the track behind the wheel?
We're hoping Sonoma. It's not 100%, but we're really hoping for that one.
Okay, great. Can you announce for us any partners that are going to be with you, or branding and marketing partners of that nature, or still finalizing those type of things?
We're still finalizing those things, but for sure, Wildgust Property Management, Team Wildgust, Applied Racing Technology, and then Elite Motorsports and all of their house sponsors. But we're still finalizing those things.
Cool. Sounds like a lot of fun, and I wish nothing but the best for you. And I'm really excited to see and watch your career and watch you grow.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Before we let you go, I've got to ask, All right, Pro Stock. You know, Erica, she loves to say, she has said it for years now, Pro Stock is my jam. That's what she says. And I wonder if that's jam in the sense of like jelly and jam, or jam as in like my song. I wonder what it is. You know, I kind of wonder like which one. Both are great. You know, music's great, and
True.
you know, I just got some jam. Or anyway, I digress. Sienna, when it comes to all the other door slammers out there, anything else you want to hop into? I mean, there's Mountain Motor Pro Stock. There's Factory X now. There's Factory Stock. There's Pro Mod World. What else is out there that Sienna might have her sight set on once she's accomplished so many goals in Pro Stock?
I would definitely try Mountain Motor Pro Stock. A funny car, something that I've always found interesting. Pro Mod as well, but I know that my mom will never let me do that, so that's off the list. But definitely funny car and Mountain Motor for sure.
Okay. Mountain Motor. I like that.
Yeah.
You already, you know, they already got the Elite connection, and they're over there now. And Johnson's Horsepower Garage sponsoring the Mountain Motor guys, and glad that they're doing so. Intriguing, Dugenais. Mention the funny car. Now, let me stop funny car. Are you talking about top alcohol funny car, or are we talking about full-blown nitromethane funny car?
All nitro.
Okay.
I like it because you know what? Every time we hear someone talk about transition or something in nitro, it's always the rail car. And I'm like, I'm not a funny car guy. I don't want an engine in front of me at all. No way. But at this point, as crowded as it is in Top Fuel, I'll get in a funny car. I'll let that thing blow up in my face. No problem. It's a easier path. It's not as crowded. So
right.
Yeah, that's interesting. Why the funny car though?
I'm not personally a huge fan of dragsters. I like my door cars, so that's
okay.
Yeah,
I can dig that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the door opens one way on a funny car.
Yeah.
So you could put it that way,
Yeah.
just up, not out. So there you
Right.
go. All right. Well, Miss Wildgust, good to have you on the show tonight. Good to get to know you a little bit, and giving us the juicy details on the transition from KB Titan to Elite Motorsports. Have yourself a good evening.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
How awesome.
that was great, and certainly hope the best for her, and that she has many win lights ahead of her. And I definitely think that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Over there at Elite, and with Erica helping out. And
agreed.
Funny that we ended speaking on funny car
right
with the young lady, and now we'll transition to the older dude and get him on and chat about, well, as you mentioned, everybody likes to transition to the dragsters, but something else is happening with this dude. So we're going to take a very quick break, and after the break, where we give a little shout out to Peak for everything. And by the way, since we're talking about funny car, and we're going to throw on a Peak commercial, John Force, you get feeling better. You get back out there and you show everybody that you're John Force, like we know you are, and you will. And by the way, John Force Racing and the family, you release updates when you want to.
Facts.
And not when everyone else expects it. And we'll get on all that hobby horse and soapbox later, but Peak right now, and then we're going to talk some more funny car.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it Peak. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze and coolant, our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Nitro Joe Morrison, welcome once again to the Competition Plus Power Hour, and funny to have you on.
Well, it's good to be back for an older dude, you know. Man, no, I appreciate it, and glad to be here, and excited to be talking about funny car, and this whole new chapter, man.
Yes.
Really, something I've dreamed of my whole life, and really did the dragsters based on a recommendation from Jim Oberhofer years ago. When I told Jimmo that I wanted to drive, I actually approached him and said, I want to drive a Kalita Nitro funny car. And he said, Joe, start in the dragster first, get used to the speed, then switch over. And Jimmo's I said, heck yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do exactly that. So that's how that all came about, how the dragster thing came about. And I feel like I'm right at home where I'm supposed to be now after driving fuel altereds and, still running in Funny Car Chaos, of course, with my buddy Dennis Champney's car. I've just been a funny car guy at heart my whole life. And the time was right. The time was right. So I'm excited.
Well, man, it's good to hear. And, everyone that watches NHRA, they're going to be familiar with you being in the dragster. But if anyone takes a little bit of time to dig, to hear you in interviews or go talk to you, they're going to learn that you are accustomed to that motor being out in front of you and you being in an open cockpit, whether it's a fuel altered or one that's got the bodies on it that look and feel funny car-esque, or even a full-blown, quite literally funny car in match racing and, yes, in Funny Car Chaos competition as of recent. And with this particular funny car, who is it with, and when are you debuting? What is this ride?
So I was fortunate enough to do my cross-grade license with Paul Smith, with Bodie there, and Rhonda back in last July in Virginia, actually. Right where that picture is actually taken in Virginia. So Virginia Motorsports Park for the PDRA event, the Night of Fire. We were able to make it happen. Made it, I had already made a part track pass in Vegas in the fall of 2022 with Terry Haddock. So I was able to, 2 runs, get her done. I had a little challenge thrown at me the first one where we wore a whole lot of clutch and the linear, which is a clutch position sensor. Usually they tape up all those holes. So we wore up a whole lot of clutch and it went from daytime to nighttime. My first pass, full pass in a Nitro funny car, the cockpit filled up with clutch dust and I couldn't see from the 8th mile on. So I lifted a little early and it still ran a 420 at 260 mile an hour, lifting at like 800 feet because I couldn't see. So welcome to funny car racing, right? I knew if I loved it after that I'd be good to go. So yeah, it's Paul Smith's car. I am grateful to Bodie for allowing me to jump in there, and for Paul for giving me the opportunity. Really, my experience with them has been fantastic from the get-go. And so the debut is happening this weekend in Norwalk. And I will have my nonprofit Right to Breathe there as well, with a partnership with Cleveland Clinic. And we're doing what we call Put Your Lungs on the Dyno. So that's a whole other thing we could talk about. But talking about the funny car in and of itself, racing's been a family thing for me from day one. With my dad, I like to tell people that I've been going to the races since before I was born, because my mom was pregnant with me while she was working in the timing tower at Island Dragway. So I've something I've loved my entire life. And again, being at Englishtown as a kid, watching Snake and Mongoose, Dale Poldy, the Blue Max. I mean, just all of those cars to be able to finally do this. It really is it's kind of a pinch me moment.
So this weekend, do you guys know what your plans are? Are you just gonna maybe do 3 sessions? Are you gonna do all 4 sessions? Have you even worked that out yet?
Sujanay, he's going to entertain.
That's right.
So ironically, they're pulling the entertainer off the side of the car because I've got Penn Grade 1 as a sponsor for this event. And the Glockner Oil Company, which is one of Penn Grade 1's biggest distributors, certainly one of the largest in Ohio. And so we'll be entertaining guests from Glockner Oil. Penn Grade 1 folks will be there. Of course, my friend Don D'Agostino, you'll see Firecracker D on the side of the car, a little support from Don too. And of course, Right to Breathe will be on the side of the car. But we are we're going there to race. Yes, I'm going to be learning. Yes, I'm going to be, I don't want to say conservative behind the wheel, but yeah, I don't want to wreck Paul Smith's car. No. So seriously, all kidding aside, the plan is to go for all 4 qualifying sessions. There were originally going to be 18 cars there. Now that John won't be there, Force won't be there, obviously, there'll be 17. We want to qualify and we want to go up with a shot for round 1. Now they've made some changes to the fuel system. They went from the BDK setup to an all valve. Stuff we're figuring out. But knowing Paul, and Bodie and the team there, that I have faith that they'll have it worked out. So are we going to be conservative for the first? That's Paul's call. My job is to drive the car. I'm proud to be working with them. I mean, there's how many drivers have driven for Paul Smith, for God's sakes? You know what I mean? You've got a long list of drivers that have driven for Paul. So my job is to shut up and drive the car, and that's what I intend to do.
I'm very interested now for you to share. We talked about it on the Not Bland show, of course. And I'm really interested for you to share with the fans here your initiative here, this Right to Breathe, because I want the people who go to Norwalk to make sure that they make their way over to Nitro Joe and this really important initiative that you guys are doing for people.
Now, I appreciate that, Duchesne, really do. So this is something that means a lot to me. My dad passed away from COPD in 2016. And the backstory is, my dad had to give up racing after my grandfather had passed away from lung cancer. And so fast forward, 25, 30 years later, when I'm finally able to give racing back to my dad, and this is our dream, we get to go racing together as a family. In 2006, that's when he was diagnosed with COPD. So by the time he was able to go back car racing, that's when he had been diagnosed with COPD. And I just thought it was tremendously unfair that this man that did everything he could to be a good dad was now going to be potentially robbed of his ability to do what he loved in life. Well, it turned out his passion for racing is what helped him fight COPD. So that was the inspiration for starting Right to Breathe. Number one, there's 12 million Americans that have COPD and don't know it, right? They have the early stages of it and they have not yet been diagnosed. So if you catch it early, unfortunately, my dad didn't get diagnosed till he had lost about half of his lung function. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. So the point is, you get diagnosed early, you can slow or stop the progression of it, save your quality of life, and probably live longer. So Right to Breathe, in partnership with the Cleveland Clinic, one of the best lung centers around, certainly in the region out by Norwalk, we're going to have the head of the community lung clinic, the head of the pulmonary function lab. We'll have actually a pulmonologist there each day, and a bunch of great respiratory therapist volunteers are going to be out there doing what we call put your lungs on the dyno, which is basically checking your lungs performance. It's totally, it's a dyno pull for your lungs. You hold this thing called a spirometer. You take a deep breath in, you blast air out, it measures it, and it can tell you if there's something going on. Because oftentimes lung disease sneaks up on people. And so my mission really is to make sure that other people have more time with their loved ones than I had with my dad. So, and fortunately, we're going to have some other drivers are going to be there. We're going to do a couple of autograph sessions. We're looking at one on Friday. I want to say 3:30. And then we're looking at one again on Saturday, 12:30 and maybe 1 o'clock as well. I saw my friend Buddy Hull comment, what a good man and a great driver he is, and an amazing human being. I think Buddy's going to be able to be out there. We've got Tony Schumacher and Ida Zetterstrom are going to be there signing autographs. Pretty sure we're going to have Caps there one day, if not two. If it doesn't conflict with her Mission Foods and Too Fast, Too Tasty things, Angel said she'll come by and help. So really, I'm so humbled that some of my fellow drivers out here understand. Look, Tony Schumacher lost his dad to lung cancer. I mean, there's a lot of people that happen to be fans of our sport that work in careers that maybe put them at risk. Maybe have a smoking history, whatever it is. Right? We have a lot of folks that are at risk. So come on by and see the folks at Right to Breathe. I mean, yeah, of course I'll be there, but I'm the least of the bunch. You know what I mean? There's really going to be some amazing folks there. And I like to say I'm proud to be the dumbest guy in the room over there, right? There's some amazing people doing great things, and we want you to be a part of it. We want folks to come by, get checked out, because if you get checked out, you can take action and live a better life and live a longer life.
Well, it's certainly a great initiative, and I think the NHRA is a great place to do it, to bring that type of awareness right to a crowd and in a situation where they can interact and be tested. Joe, though, can we get the before and after nitro warm-up dyno pools? Can we get that? Like you come in, you still got nitro in your lungs, that might be kind of interesting.
Hey, you might actually be better off, man, to clear your sinuses.
Right, you might be better off. You might be better off.
It'll open up them airways, right? Get the tears flowing, and you get a couple of good coughs in there, and man, that'll clear it right out. And the whole thing about what we do is we want people to be able to do what they love to do for longer, right? I mean, think about it. Imagine how amazing the world would be if everybody got to do what they love to do. Right? I mean, think about that, right? I just think it's that's the magic right there, man. That's the magic right there.
Well, you've put a lot of work in, and you have got to this level, and thank you for giving back, and thank you for assisting others as well. And you have stayed out there, and you have kept scratching and clawing, and no telling where things may very well go with your career. And this is certainly going to be a new challenge, but you've also had the challenge of funny car chaos. I've got two questions for you on that side of things. How is it going since Maryland? Maryland last year, you and the team that you are willing for had a pretty good outing. And since then, I think it's been a bit more challenging. It's been kind of tough. And then chaos as a group of racers, as an organization, as an atmosphere, if you will. What is that like? So performance, and what is chaos like?
So our first chaos that we did with the Hellbound funny car with my buddy Dennis Champney, we went to the semifinals in Maryland, which was great. We decided we were going to go to the Texas event, and we went to the semifinals there too. And then, of course, we headed out to Cordova. And we started having issues with tire shake. We were having tire shake issues a bit in Texas too. But we got lucky in round one. Anyway, man, we got there. We dealt with tire shake. I pedaled it and got us qualified, which was great because there were some folks that didn't qualify. And we went up for round one thinking like, you know what, I've got a game plan. We're going to short shift to at least avoid the tire shake situation, and try to be competitive on race day. And the starter broke on the line. There's nothing more frustrating than sitting there, hear the other car fire up, and then all of a sudden scrambling. Who's got a starter? Trying to find something and trying to make it happen. And boy, it's disappointing to drive out 1,000 miles and to add insult to injury, towing my little camper home. Right, living the glorious life here. Right, I got a 24-year-old truck, and we burned up the rear end on the way home. And actually, I got to pick that up before I haul out to Norwalk tomorrow, getting that truck fixed. So, hey, this is the glamorous life of a part-time racer. I wouldn't have it any other way, though. So the people, man, amazing. I think what Chris Graves is doing and that whole team he's got, because obviously it's not just Chris and Tara themselves. I mean, they're leading the charge. But what a great organization and what a great atmosphere. It's really cool, man. like the Nitro Chaos thing, the Funny Car Chaos thing. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. If Chaos is coming to your town or anywhere nearby, it's a great show, and it's definitely worth going out to see.
Yeah, you do a good job with that. They do a good job with that. You know, I am just super excited to see you hit the track here. I really, like I said, I hope people stop by, say hi, and support what you're doing out there. It's going to be a pretty good weekend, I think, for racing. So the night session is going to be fun. I'm sure you love to drive when the flames are able to be nice and high and bright.
Oh, it is. I'll tell you what, man. I have not driven the Big Show Funny Car when it's dark yet. Oh man, let me tell you, I hope I get the chance to do that this weekend. I think that Friday session is going to be real important for qualifying. It'll be real interesting to see what happens. Truth be told, I would love it if it was hot and sticky all weekend, because I think that gives us our best shot, you know. But we'll see what happens, you know. I mean, really, man, I wish I could put into words what it's like sitting there when they fire up that 11,000 horsepower engine and that car is shaking and moving and they start to lower the body and it's time to do the burnout. I mean, holy crap, it is the coolest thing on the planet. So I don't know what else to say beyond that. You know, Friday night will be real interesting. Saturday, hopefully we're well qualified in the show and we'll see what happens. If we have to pull out a line and during the fourth session because everything is good, then maybe we'll do that. But that's up to Paul. Again, my job is to shut up and drive the car. So that's what we plan to do.
Well, you are certainly with a group that knows how to get it in the show. There's been several times they have been on the outside looking in, and for a part-time team, they know how to crack in. And there's been some times where Bodie had some opportunities. There were some shots. There were some possibilities so far this year. Never know what it might be for Joe Morrison this weekend there at Summit Motorsports Park in competition. Joe, we hope you have a good weekend. Joe, thank you for coming on the show, and keep moving forward, buddy, and keep getting it done out there.
Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. Great to join you as always, and hope to see you at the track.
We will. See you, Joe. Always good to chat with Joe Morrison here on the Competition Plus Power Hour or on the Not Bland Show or Between the Slicks. And it's good that we've got individuals like Joe out there using drag racing for more than just collecting points and earning dollars and getting TV time, because he's using it in a positive way to impact people right where it certainly does matter, and that is in the health department. That is critical to happiness for sure. Dujournay, I know we've got plenty more to talk about, as we still got about 15, 20 minutes until we reach the top of the hour here on the Power Hour. And we're going to take a break with, well, I think there's some folks out there that they need to see the light on some certain matters. And I think if you are riding around in your neo-nostalgic retro mod, Holley Retro Bright is certainly going to let you see down the road.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Man, I had a great weekend with Nitro Chaos at Edgewater Sports Park there outside of Cincinnati. Great drag racing, great show that we had. Also experienced the wildest qualifying session that I have ever been a part of, and was seriously reminded of how dangerous the starting line can actually be and why there are the procedures in place that we have. We can talk about that later, another time, whatever. But what did steal the show certainly was that John Force, a major incident, round one there at Virginia Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I screamed when I saw it. I was very, very, very concerned, and I know a lot of people are. My biggest problem with this is that it's funny how folks all of a sudden become NHRA experts when a crash happens. Now, all this history, but when there's no crashes, you couldn't find them in the daytime with a flashlight if they were the only people on earth. See, these are the same people that show up, steal content from people. They don't give them credit, or they credit people who didn't do the content. They stole it too. And then you go and you post all these things, and you get all these extra followers and subscribers to that garbage when people like the Competition Plus, Bobby Bennett, the Not Bland Show, Between the Slicks, National Director, the Phil Burgesses, the Kevin McKenna's, the Kelly Wades, the Susan Wades, put work in. They go shopping at the grocery store. They get the ingredients and they bring them, and they make a palatable dish for fans to have substance and something that they can believe in and trust in. See, I don't want to hear about all publicity is good publicity, because I'm going to tell you that's bull crap. Those people are a problem. You want to know why they're a problem? Because, see, they take stuff from folks, and then they use this stuff to set out misinformation, which leads to false narratives, which in turn creates unnecessary rumors. Look, Bobby, along with everybody else, sure, they're posting the same thing that the team is posting. But you know what? Some people don't even do social media. So they're doing their job. So get off their backs. And if they don't want the video on their site, then so be it. That's their choice. And quite frankly, I don't have a problem with it, because that's just respecting the family. Okay? And his colleagues. So, I'm tired of all of it. And it's time that, just like pouring salt on a snail, that we dry these people up and kick them off the island of relevancy and send their butts back to the island of obscurity. Because I don't know about you, I'm tired of them showing up to the cookout and bringing nothing and then taking food off of my plate. Because I don't know about you, I'm hungry. And I want to eat. And I'm tired of them taking from us.
It does fascinate me that in a situation like this, just how everybody will jump on the bandwagon. It fascinates me that you have people post, for example, video, and I don't mind the posting of the video. It was a racing incident. You can see it. It's racing. But what I don't appreciate is when that's not your norm.
Facts.
And all of a sudden you're posting an incident, and you go through the archives of your videos, and there are really no other incidents on there. But yet you're showing this one in particular because, well, it's John Force. That's going to get clicks. That's going to get likes. It's going to get shared. It's going to get comments. And,
right.
I appreciate the, integrity of, we're going to wait for an official word instead of speculation. And I also appreciate the respecting of, in a serious moment, not taking screen grabs. That frustrates me. Taking screen grabs and, here's John, or look at this person, or look at that person, who, even if it's not John, but beyond.
Yep.
And I, because of the person that John Force is, if another entity that usually doesn't cover drag racing is covering it now, well, that's great. It is John Force. Cool. But I think there is a way to do it tastefully. Now, overarching though, with what you're saying, I find it frustrating. You have outlets out here that have social media platforms, and they count themselves as media, and yet I very much so think that if you're a media outlet and you're covering whatever event, NHRA, PDRA, Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos, NMRA, you should take the time. You should take the time to at least tag and let everyone know where they can go follow the place in which you got that content from.
Facts.
It fascinates me that people are out there consuming content and they see it and they don't have any opportunity from certain outlets to know where that was from. There was a page there at Funny Car Chaos Cordova, and you see them posting funny cars. Well, they took just just video of the nostalgia funny cars at Funny Car Chaos. Funny Car Chaos is not a nostalgia drag racing outfit. Nostalgia funny cars are welcome, but it's not just nostalgia funny cars. But they just took videos of the nostalgia cars, put it together, and gave it its own name of like a nostalgia funny car shootout at Cordova, and that event was not taking place. That is misrepresenting, and that is outright shameful as anyone trying to portray themselves as media.
Right.
That type of move, I cannot appreciate.
I don't either. And my biggest problem is not so much the video itself. It's just like you got some people out here that they're a motorsports outlet, but you're doing WNBA because it's trendy. Yet you can read the article and tell y'all don't know nothing about basketball. You don't know nothing about women's basketball. And my problem is these people coming over here trying to take food off of the plates of people who work hard to promote this sport because you're trying to get clicks. And you couldn't tell a nitro cylinder head if it hit you in the face. I got a problem with that. And I'm sick of people taking food off the plates of people who have, one, laid the groundwork for me to be able to do what I'm doing today, and two, taking food off the plates of the people like us who are trying to continue and carry the torch for the folks that all have laid down the groundwork for us to be able to do what we do. Yeah, you darn right I got a problem. Because all you're trying to do is snatch followers, get likes, and get clicks. And I'm sorry, this community way too small. We put up with that in the NFL because you ain't got no choice. It's too many people. But this community's small. And you know what I say too? Fans are seeing that because I've seen people talking about it on Twitter, calling folks out. So it's just time to eradicate these bums. I'm tired of it.
It would be great to see, yes, let them go into the land of obscurity for sure. Well, Duchesne, look, we're going to take a quick break, and we've certainly got someone in the green room that can speak on all of this. And he's had a rather tough weekend in losing a close friend and then having a friend, by the way, go through a serious major incident on the track. And he's certainly pegged at the red line. But Redline being a supporter here of the show, well, you can get through anything with Redline in your mechanical parts and pieces because the top people out there in the world of drag racing and motorsports, they use Redline.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
All right. Bobby Bennett, welcome to the show. Bobby, man, look, first of all, losing Roger, be praying for you. I know he was close to you, and I know it had to be hard also to see John go through what he went through. You've known John for many, many years, not to mention then also Well, people not understanding and valuing a little bit of integrity over the situation. You're muted, Bobby.
Is this a point where we all take a drink? I'll
Yes. Yeah.
What a week. What a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my best, fellas. If I pop out of here, it's because I can't control my composure. Roger Richards had been with me every step of the way on this. He stood by me when I wasn't worth standing by. He supported me. He helped Competition Plus to be what it was. Drag racing has lost greatly. I've lost greatly, but nowhere near as bad as the sport has lost. You know, everybody thinks Roger was around for the front engine cars and all that. No, he was probably about 40 years old when that was going on, but, and I kid you. But actually, what people don't believe, and I tell them, Roger was a very late bloomer. You know, he didn't come into drag racing until after he retired from the workforce. I took him to his first drag race in 1999. My son was racing a junior dragster, and we actually met, and believe this, in the old AOL chat rooms. I believe this is when you were in the 5th grade and maybe you were in the 6th. There was this thing called an AOL chat room, and we used to chat. Well, I was Harley and SC, just like my email. He was the geezer. But he seemed like a really nice guy, and I knew he lived over in Greer, and he had a photography and videography company. My son was racing junior dragster, so I invited him over to Greer to shoot a video, a promo video of my son, and he came over there, had a good time. Well, a couple of months later, I got this harebrained idea to start this drag racing magazine on the internet. There was only one problem. I didn't have any money. I didn't even have enough dust in my or lint in my pocket to show that I once had money. I was that broke. And so I knew I needed a photographer. So I asked Roger, I said, hey, how'd you like to go to one of these big national drag races? And Roger says, you know, I could probably come up there Sunday. I have a wedding I have to shoot Saturday. I'm like, okay. So he comes up there. I give him the do's and don'ts about what to do, what not to do at Rockingham. I sent him on his merry way, trackside at Rockingham. And, of course, Paul Romine in the CarQuest Top Fuel car, he does a burnout. Roger sticks with him, pans with him perfectly. I said, oh, boy, I might have somebody here that can help me. Well, Paul Romine nails the throttle. I look out to see where Roger is, and he's gone. I said, where did you go? Where did you go? And I looked, and I saw this little balding head come inching slightly up behind the wall. Seems like Roger, being a Vietnam vet, when he nailed the throttle, Roger hit the ground thinking fire was coming in. Oh, I've cried my eyes out, but every time I cry, there's something I start thinking about with him. And I'm thinking, you know, I don't know what was worse sometimes, the puns or the dad jokes. They were equally brutal, you know. And that's, you know, Roger said in the video we got up that Jake Simmons produced so magnificently. And he said, I guarantee you I made more friends than I made pictures at the drag races. Oh, gosh, that was cool.
It is.
You know, Roger could have left me so many times for more money, and he stayed with me. For what reason, I don't know. He must have liked me. I don't even think I like myself, but he did. And when things started going right, we we righted the ship and got it headed in the right direction, making a good move. I told him so many times, and he would just smile. I'd say, thank you for sticking with me and not giving up on me. Thank you. And that's what kind of guy he was. I'd never go to the drag strip again, and it'd be the same without him. Always used to tell him when he and I would end up at a race working together. So many times we went our different way. He would be there working with another reporter, but those times that it was just me and him were really, in the later years, got kind of rare. But when they came in, like, I look at him, we'd fist bump, say, the A team's here today. And we did. We had that. He knew every angle I loved. I didn't even have to tell him what kind of angle I needed for a shot. He said, I got you. I got you, Bubba. Or as he like to say, I got you, blood. Trying his best to be gangster. You know, he said, I got you, blood. And gosh, you just spend your life with somebody. I think I probably spent more time with him than he spent with his wife at times. You know, we spent more time on the road, and it was not pretty sometimes, those early days. It was not pretty. And I think that he just stayed around to see what was going to happen next. And, I can remember one time we were broker than broke. I mean, when we went to a race, we went on the cheapest rate on Priceline. And if you go on the cheapest rate on Priceline,
that's like
there's a very good chance you walk in a room and there's still a chalk outline over in the corner that hasn't been vacuumed up. I mean, that's the way it was. So the time we go to Budds Creek, Maryland, and it was terrible. We got there and we got to the hotel. He said, where are we staying at? I said, we're staying at a Super 8. He said, okay. So we get there. Roger looked at me. And of course, we go to our room. We walk in and it looks like they've been cooking curry for 10 years. It smells like that. That's one of those hotels. And we walk in there. He said, you got room? You got reservation? And stuff like that. And we're just like, and I'm not making light to anybody. It just is what it is. So we got a room. Of course, there was one of those old school 1960s, 1970s trash cans, which somebody mistook for a urinal. And that odor would waft right into the room from the hole in the wall. Yeah, the hole in the wall. And there was a hole in the bathroom. I perfectly expected an eyeball to be on the other side of it. I went and pulled back the sheets, and there were remnants from somebody else's body that was still there on the sheets.
Jeez.
So the one night I slept on top of the bedspread with my clothes on. And of course I had to put my jacket on because of the hole between the air conditioner and the wall that was letting the 15, 60 degree air in from the Maryland night time. And finally we get to the hotel. I slammed my fingers in the door that night, Friday night after qualifying. Slammed my fingers in the door of the van. So I'm already aching. I get to there and I said, Roger, I will sleep in this van before I'll sleep in that room again. So I went out to the guy. I said, we're checking out. We're done. You keep the rest of the money. We're leaving. Your place is terrible. He says, we 3-star. No, on 100-star level, yes, you're a 3-star. So we go out, and just down the road, brand new Hampton Inn that had just opened, and it was far from full. They gave us a discounted rate for the rest of the weekend, and we stayed at the Hampton Inn. And that's just the way our luck went in those days. When it just looked like nothing could happen right, things always fell in place. Roger always used to tell me, he says, you know, we go to a PRI show, we'd spend 10 minutes explaining them who we are. Then we come there and people know who we are. He said, that's great. That's great. And I'm going to miss him. He's irreplaceable. Nobody can ever replace him. And, you know, he's just, you guys are part of that family. You are near and dear to my heart. And I'm a man of faith. I'm not a perfect man of faith, but I'm a man of faith. And then with my friend John Force, and look, let me tell you something. We used to spend hours up in his hauler just talking about anything. Sometimes racing came up, but he was just a dear friend, you know. And people want to understand why I'm so hesitant to put up a video or link to a video because you know, they say he was alert and talking. Well, guess what? My stepbrother, who got killed in a motorcycle accident, he hit the side of a car. He got up. He was walking around. He was unbuckling his helmet. He appeared just fine. On the way to the hospital, he collapsed and died from internal injuries. I could not have that on my conscience if I had my friend's death up on my website or linked on my website. I can't. You know what? Everybody else could get the millions of YouTube hits. I don't care. It won't be me. Yeah, congratulations. You might get that penny for every 1,000 views because that's the going rate on YouTube.
Yep.
At the end of the day, integrity wins, and we have integrity. You two guys are two of the best people I know on the face of this planet. And I hope these viewers who all watch you understand just what kind of integrity you guys have, how you do this show. You know?
Thank you. Try to do our best.
Nobody does this for the money. If they do, they got in the wrong line of business. But you do need money to live on.
Yes.
None of us done this. There's no amount of money. That's why I turned down millions of dollars for Competition Plus years ago. What's it worth to miss 2 of your kids growing up? What's that worth? It sure ain't worth millions of dollars that can be blown in an instant, devalued. So just think about it. These people are out here covering the races. None of us are living in a lap of luxury. We don't have retirement plans. We do this because we love this sport. And I have an obligation to all those people who taught me coming up through the ranks to do this the right way, because I'm responsible from 2 generations from now, knowing who great people like Richard Tharp or Billy Meyer were. And if I don't tell them, if you don't tell them, we don't tell them, they don't know.
Right.
They think drag racing is NOS and, you know, racing on the street. So, you know, that, I guess that's the closest you're going to get to my get off my lawn segment tonight. But I will tell you, I was beaten down. I was sent lots of dirty messages, private messages. One, in fact, from a first responder who called us a lame news site because we wouldn't put up the video of the crash. And because we were so slow to put it up, waiting instead on official. We were called clickbait. We were called all these names because we chose to do the right thing, to wait until we had facts, indisputable facts to put up. Nobody remembers who's first. They always remember who's right, who's wrong.
Exactly.
And Bobby's not exaggerating. You know, I see the Competition Plus messages that roll in on Facebook, and yes, well, some of them are way out of line. And you know, we live in a day of instant news for sure, and there is no other news except for what has been released by John Force Racing. And there's no point in speculating. When the family wants us to know more, when John Force Racing wants us to know more, we'll know more.
You know what?
And look,
yeah, just like I know what Dugenais is going to say. Here's a news flash. Sometimes it's none of your business. It's not my business, not your business, not anybody's business. It is perfectly okay to have a family crisis or a medical crisis and not splash it all over Facebook.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I get I get the concern, and I get people wanting to know. You know, John is one of the best. It is amazing that a man that I grew up as a kid watching in his early days has transcended through many generations. And I know how much love that people have for him. I mean, like, you know, I almost came to tears. I understand. But at the end of the day, we have to respect everybody's wishes and the team's wishes and the family's wishes. We'll find out soon enough. Right now, they have something they have to handle with their father, their uncle, you know, grandfather. They have something they have to handle. It's a family matter, and we'll know soon enough. We'll know soon enough. But at the end of the day, everybody just needs to keep praying for Superman, sending positive thoughts. And we know John's one tough SOB. He'll be back.
Well, I can tell you, if you come on our Facebook page and you call us clickbait, if that's what you think, do us all a favor and unsubscribe right then, because we don't.
Right.
You're either going to unsubscribe yourself or I'm going to unsubscribe you. I don't need you. You can go to one of the other press release pasting websites.
Yeah, that's steals.
You can go to those, but you know, and I say this purely in jest because I know it would get a chuckle out of John Force. I guarantee you that the doctors and somebody, you know, Susan Wade said this, and I'll give her credit for this, is that they're probably checking every inch of John Force's body under toenails, over everything, trying to find something wrong with him. And they're saying there is no way a 75-year-old man can do what he does and come away with it. Come away okay. There is no way. There is no way. And to be honest, my own personal theory, I think they're going to realize he's an alien. Because they ain't no human being can do what that guy does.
He's Superman, I'm telling you.
Superman. Whatever planet he's from. You look at that old cartoon, that comic book that they had, you think that's fiction? That's nonfiction.
Yeah.
That's nonfiction. Guys, I'm smiling because I have cried my eyes out all this morning. Like I said, I'm a man of faith, but I threw my hands up into the air and I said, God, please, can I just get a break? I mean, this year, I've nearly lost a sister and a brother-in-law. This is within weeks. Had a medical issue with my granddaughter. I got held at gunpoint with an AR-15 to my head. Nearly crashed into another car. Got a friend in the hospital, and lost one of my best friends. So in a moment, I trust Jesus as my Savior, and I trust Him to protect my heart. But I had to throw my hands up and say, when is it going to be enough, God? You know, if that doesn't kill us makes us stronger, I could probably bench press a 58 Buick by now.
Yeah. Well, we definitely going to miss Roger. He was an inspiration to my cameraman, Frederick Warner. He was always a huge help. And you know, like I told you, he sends his condolences and you know, positive thoughts, but he was definitely one of the best, and drag racing lost one of the greats.
For sure.
Anything you guys want to talk about? Or you want me to get out of here?
You sound like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
What do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
No, Bobby, I think you coming on and you sharing and expressing has been a great way to end the show in its entirety. And, you know, we need in the media and we need as individuals more integrity overall. And we can certainly take away that we don't have to know everything right away. It can come to us when it needs to come to us at the time that it's appropriate.
I think the only time I ever had is when one of my best friends had a crash. I called the NHRA. I said, I haven't heard anything and I need to hear something now. And I'm talking about when Roger Brogdon had his crash in his wagon. Roger's my best friend on this earth.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I got to know, don't give me that. He was alert talking bull crap. I want to know the truth. And they told me talk to him, but I understand how the protocols go. We will never be the first to report a fatality or a serious, overwhelming crash. We won't be the first that. If you're looking for that, you can go elsewhere. But what you are going to get is accurate facts that we can prove that are solidified. And we're going to have, here's something that some in the media forget: compassion.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure the family has been notified, because how would you like your 9-year-old son knowing that daddy died at the racetrack?
Right. Yeah, there's people don't understand. They see a bad crash and they're posting on social media, and you know they're not even a media site. You know, they're trying to get some licks on their likes and growth on their personal page or something. And you know, I've been there. I've been there on the top end with a camera and filming just to document, not to post it anywhere, but this is what happened. This is what's going on. Wondering if a driver is going to make it. You know, been there, and you've been there, Bobby. We've seen it. And in those moments, you're like, how do you tactfully handle this and express this? And, you know, I can remember as a pit reporter, first weekend on the job, and I've got to talk about Ken Singleton's incident. I'm like, well, man, boom, here it is. And you want to say it right. You want to express it right. You want to be very careful of how it is communicated, because there are people involved that have been seriously impacted. And frankly, the rest of the world doesn't have a right to know, but yet it also is the right thing to let them know in the right way and at the right time.
Yeah, you know, I learned at an early age. I was actually 18 on the starting line at Bristol Thunder Valley Dragway at the 1985 Fall Nationals. And I was standing trackside as I watched the soon-to-be 3-time world champion Don Young and Top Sportsman leaving the starting line. This is back in the days when dragsters used to run Top Sportsman. And he left the starting line. The car made an abrupt right, went under the guardrail, and I watched the world champion die right in front of my face.
Yeah, that's tough.
At 18 years old, and I questioned, how could I be in this? How could I do this? And you learn, you have a job to do. That doesn't mean that when you get through posting the facts, that after the family's been notified and everything, that doesn't mean that you can't go sit down in a corner and cry somewhere because somebody's lost their dad, their brother, their grandfather.
Yeah.
And that's the serious part. So if the news don't come as quickly and it's the same as before, if we get deemed clickbait, then why do you waste your time with us? Go on somewhere. Do us all a favor. We don't need you. I will have 5 readers than to have 495,955 who act that way.
Yeah.
I'll rather have 5 good readers, because those 5 readers will be well versed on what's going on.
Completely agree.
I will say this before we close, though.
Yep.
I did have a few questions about the NHRA having a concussion protocol. and they do have a concussion protocol, and that is run and led by Dr. Philip Surface. So
Dr.
yes,
Surface, very good guy.
the NHRA does have a concussion protocol in place, and it's a good thing, because at the end of the day, and I think this substitute driver thing is also good, because it stops athletes from trying to get back in the car too soon. And they're in a points race. They want to be and continue to be in that points race. So I like that rule by the NHRA, because it allows those who may be injured or who are sick to heal up and allow them to have a substitute driver to get points in their for them. Because in the National Football League, especially when you get hurt, it may be the last time you touch the field. The NHRA allowing that it takes that stress off of them, and it protects the athlete from him or herself. So I applaud them for that.
Yeah, we did tackle that subject a few years ago with Susan Wade. She did an incredible article, which I don't know which article Susan Wade does. It's not incredible.
Right.
She does a great job on it. And hey, I don't see there's much of a difference with crashing helmets on a football field and getting your head rattled around like a paint mixer inside a roll cage.
Yep,
tire shape.
not different.
I would not be surprised if long-term drag racers, there isn't some sort of CTE in there.
I wouldn't be surprised either, especially the early days. Good
Lord. I mean, it's just like, blah, 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 blah. I've seen back when Pro Mods had clutches. I saw cars turn into basketball, tires turn into basketballs. So, yeah. So what else you got, brother?
That's it.
Come at me, bro. I got you.
That's good. That's good. Well, Bobby, thank you for coming on and expressing your thoughts. It's a great way to end the show. And again, as we began it with the video that you provided concerning Roger, we want to end the show with that video and let everyone learn a little bit more about Roger and who we've lost in the drag racing world, competitionplus.com, and you certainly a personal and lifelong friend.
I have pinned
my name.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Say that again. Okay.
Yeah.
I've pinned a commentary that I'll run tomorrow. Kind of imagine me and Julio down by the schoolyard, except this is me and Geezer down by the drag strip. So it's kind of a lively. I can't get to the end of it reading without coming to tears. I've lost a dear friend, and drag strip will never be the same. I'll never be able to fist bump and say the A team's on it today, because the A team ceased to exist when he left. We're just half a A. We're just half a A. Anything else would be A minus.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but you don't spend that much time on the road with somebody. I can truly understand how soldiers, they create bonds with their fellow soldiers, and something happens that you were never out there just trying to stay alive. You were watching his back. Roger watched my back, and I watched his.
Yeah.
Folks, thank you for watching. God bless.
My name is Roger Richards. Been doing photography since Thomas Edison and I invented the camera, but I've only been doing drag racing since around the turn of the century. We started Competition Plus in the fall of 1999. Bobby came to my studio to have his son, who was doing junior dragster, had his son come over and have a picture made in his fire suit, and I had no idea what a fire suit was. He came in and I finally took the pictures, and he invited me to come over to the Greer Dragway, and that was the first official trip to a drag strip in my entire life, and he invited me to come to the IHRA Fall Nationals in 1999. That was the first big drag race I've been to. And I was standing beside Paul Romine on the start line. The first time that I watched a top fuel launch. In Rockingham, you can stand pretty darn close behind the wall. And he took off. My hat went somewhere. It wasn't from exhaust or wind or anything. It was just sound percussion. Knocked my hat right off my head. I have no idea yet. I've still not found that picture. You get the big cars taking off, and it starts in your heart, all the vibration, and works its way out. That's what I tell people. They say, well, how does it feel to stand beside a top fueler? That's what I tell them. The vibrations start in my heart, and they come out. Started out as a professional photography, doing weddings and portraits. I've done over 3,000 weddings around the turn of the century when we started this. I phased out of the wedding and portraits and got into this. I don't have to tell a car to smile or anything. I don't have to put up with 3,000 weddings, that's 6,000 mother-in-laws. I don't have to put up with that in the drag racing. Now, I've never seen a bride do a burnout down the aisle and burst into flames at the altar. And so this is a lot more interesting than, and it's new every time we come. It's the same, but every race is different. Every venue is different. And I used to fly everywhere to go to the races, and then people ask me, what does Pomona look like? And I said, well, it's about a quarter mile long, and it's got stands on each side. And what does Epping look like? Well, it's about a quarter mile long, stands on each side. And everything looked the same, and so I started driving, and now 15 or 16 years down the road driving, I get to visit all the great places, all the national parks in between all these events. A lot of people think that I was here when the first car went down the track in 50-something, but drag racing, except for watching a little bit of Wild World of Sports on TV, drag racing didn't exist into my life until '99. I don't have all that history, so all this is new to me. And a lot of people talk about the good old days, and that this is the good old days for me. I retired in '92 from the corporate world and doing just photography. I haven't used an alarm clock since 1992, so not many people can say that. It's been a heck of a career, heck of a way to spend retirement.
Well, that's why I don't, I stay on neutral side with you.
All right, one more thing. How many guys want to see Eddie Kravick win the race today?
I don't consider myself the best one out here. There are tons of people out here who can take better pictures and do better than I, but there's not anyone that has more fun than me. I brought my daughter to a national event for her first drag race, and she became addicted to drag racing. She doesn't get to come as much anymore because of her job, but she likes to come to races because of all the people out there. That's the cars and the speed and the numbers, that's all impressive, but it's the people that make it. Somebody asked me at one point in time, what's the best part of this? And I always told myself, I make more friends than I make pictures, so that's the great thing about this.